Somali pirates made a fatal mistake in the Arabian Ocean by crossing paths with the United States Navy. A bulk carrier was making its run across the Arabian Sea. The crew knew the risks. The waters east of Somalia and north of the Horn of Africa had been a hunting ground for pirate gangs for years. The warning signs appeared just after dawn. Lookouts spotted specks on the horizon. At first, they looked like fishing boats, but within minutes, their speed gave them away. The vessels were closing in at more than 20 knots, wake spraying high behind their outboard motors. The alarm was sounded. The crew locked down inside the ship's citadel, the fortified safe room designed for exactly this scenario. They sent a mayday out across maritime channels, possible pirate attack, requesting assistance. On deck, the pirates moved with ruthless coordination. 2 boats veered toward the bow, another toward the stern. They were armed with rifles, machine guns, and even the dark tube of a rocket-propelled grenade launcher was visible against the sky. For the crew sealed inside the citadel, it felt like the end. But this is where things took a shocking turn. The pirates had no idea who was already racing toward them. The signal sent by the crew didn't vanish into the void. Hundreds of miles away, a U.S. Navy destroyer was on patrol, part of an international task force monitoring the Gulf of Aden. The message crackled across its communication deck. Coordinates were logged, plotted, confirmed. The order went out in seconds. Change course, full speed. The ship was an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer, steel, sensors, and firepower, designed for global conflict, but often called on for moments like this. Her crew had drilled this scenario multiple times, and what happened next would prove why the U.S. Navy is feared in every ocean on Earth. The pirates wanted a ransom, and the Navy wanted them stopped cold. Overhead, a reconnaissance drone was launched. Its cameras zoomed across the waves, locking on to the fleeing merchant vessel. There they were, 4 pirate skiffs, black dots swarming the ship like wasps. The feed relayed in real time to the destroyer's command center. There was no mistaking the situation now. Back at the scene, the pirates had pulled alongside the merchant ship. Grappling hooks scraped against steel, ropes swung, men scrambled up the sides. The crew could hear them pounding on hatches, shouting in Somali and broken English, "Open the door, or we will kill you all." But then came a sound that changed everything, the low thrum of rotors cutting through the air. The destroyer's helicopter, an MH-60R Seahawk, swooped over the horizon. Its side doors open, a machine gun bristling, crew scanning the decks below. The pirates froze, caught mid-climb. For years, they had harassed unarmed vessels, easy prey. Now they faced an armed war machine circling above them like a deadly vulture. And you won't believe what happened next. The Seahawk fired its first warning bursts into the water. Spray exploded just yards from the skiffs. One boat tried to peel away, its outboard screaming. Another kept pushing toward the ship, men waving rifles defiantly. From the destroyer still miles away, the decision was made. This was no longer a standoff, it was an elimination. And the way the Navy struck back will leave you stunned and speechless. Fast attack craft were launched from the destroyer, rigid inflatable boats packed with armed sailors, each moving across the waves like black arrows. The helicopter kept circling, hurting the pirates, pinning them in place until the boats closed in. The first pirate skiff opened fire. Tracer rounds streaked toward the Seahawk, harmless at that distance, but enough to seal their fate. This was the fatal mistake, and what came next was pure shock and awe. Within seconds, the Navy's response roared back. M4 carbines and mounted M240 machine guns barked over the water, ripping into the skiff's hull. The impact was devastating. Splinters flew, the engine coughed smoke, and one pirate dropped his rifle as if he fell to the deck. Another dove overboard, thrashing in panic. And this is where it gets interesting. The pirates, caught off guard by the precision, fired wildly in return. But the Americans didn't flinch. Their answer came with cold efficiency. A 3-second burst from an Mk-38 mounted on the bow of the lead boat. The heavy 7.62mm rounds tore through the skiff's side, blasting holes wide enough for water to pour in. The small craft bucked violently, its outboard sputtering as smoke poured from the engine. Another circled wide, cutting off escape. A gunner swung his weapon onto a second skiff that was trying to accelerate away. The sharp thud-thud-thud of automatic weapon fire ripped across the waves, and the pirate skiff shuddered as its hull was ripped apart. 2 men toppled overboard, vanishing into the chum. Others raised their hands instinctively, weapons clattering into the bottom of the boat. In less than 5 minutes, what began as a confident ambush collapsed into chaos. The pirates had gambled against the U.S. Navy and paid the price in blood and broken boats. The ambush had flipped upside down. What started as a pirate attack ended in a shocking rout. Within moments, the attackers' confidence shattered under the weight of disciplined, precise American firepower. By now, the merchant vessel was safe. Not a single crew member was injured, but the attackers were finished. Some dead, others bleeding, and the rest captured. And here's the part nobody expected. These pirates, who thought they would walk away with millions, ended up shackled in the belly of a U.S. warship. Hours later, the seas were calm again, but the memory of gunfire lingered. The surviving pirates were shackled, blindfolded, and ferried back to the destroyer. There, they were processed, treated for wounds, and locked in makeshift cells deep below the deck. Weapons were cataloged: AK-47s, PKM machine guns, even an RPG launcher with a live round still chambered. Evidence of a professional organized raid, not just desperate fishermen, but hardened raiders and criminals. The merchant crew emerged from the citadel, dazed but alive. For them, the difference between life and death had been measured in minutes, the time it took for the U.S. Navy to arrive, strike, and finish the fight. Within minutes, the ocean went from chaos to control. This wasn't just a victory at sea, it was a message. For years, pirates in the Indian Ocean had played a cat-and-mouse game with the world's navies. Sometimes they escaped, sometimes they got paid. But moments like this reminded everyone against a modern navy, piracy is suicide. This incident wasn't unique. Time and time again, U.S. forces have clashed with pirates across these waters. In 2009, the world watched the Maersk, Alabama hijacking play out like a movie, ending with Navy SEAL snipers eliminating 3 pirates with simultaneous headshots. Since then, dozens of operations followed, most unreported, but all with the same theme. When pirates attack Americans, they don't survive for long. The ambush in open waters was just another entry in that history, another reminder that while piracy ebbs and flows, U.S. resolve does not.